Yeah, I started this process of trying to get this studio going last summer, but then I ran into problems. Hey, it's Mobile Rick. I know it's been quite a long time since I posted any kind of videos, and definitely long before any of this craziness happened. So I wanted to give you an update on what's going on. Obviously, this COVID situation has completely turned a lot of our lives upside down. And even though you might think that my lifestyle, living off the grid basically in the forest, should be kind of an ideal situation, right? I kind of thought that too, but it turned out to be absolutely not the case at all. The first change of which, as I sip my morning coffee, is that a big part of my lifestyle used to be hanging out at coffee shops. And obviously that doesn't happen anymore. So that's put me in a position that's, I guess, familiar to a lot of people who are essentially homeless, that I got nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go now. Once Starbucks and local coffee shops shut down, and all the fast food places, which, you know, they're not my first choice, but in an emergency, in a pinch, when I got to do something on the internet, I go hang out at you know, one of the fast food places to do my internet. But that shut down, and then for a long time, the local mall, the food court was still open, and I could use Wi-Fi there. But then they shut down, and then I had nowhere to go, except I would go like hang out in my friend's driveway where I'm at now, and that was working out okay until it started becoming absurdly hot. And well, you might be looking at this camper and say, well, you painted it a dark color, now that's what your issue is. But actually, it's really well insulated. Mostly, it's made of styrofoam. And I haven't noticed really any issue of the heat coming through the walls. It's actually just straight through the roof. The sun just beats straight onto the roof, just the same way that it's beating on my face right now. And it's feeling really hot, and it's just early in the morning because this is Arizona. It's just scorches you immediately. But you can go in the shade, you know, it's cool in the shade. And that's what the issue is. Because what I normally do with this lifestyle is I just go with the seasons. And when it starts to get hot, I go up north into the mountains, and it's no big deal. And I can you know, just be comfortably in the shade, and I don't have that issue because in Arizona it's cool in the shade. But what happened is, and this is really annoying, is that where I go to camp up north, all the camping around the city where I go, and it's important that I be able to go there because there's two main places that I go where it's easy to find pickup work so that I can get, you know, $100 when I need it, right? So one of my go-to places, they just shut down all the camping around the city. So I can't go to the cool weather anymore. I'm stuck here where it's going to be hot. And being stuck where it's hot has compounded the problem because I don't like to work when it's hot. I don't sweat. My genes make it so that I don't really sweat. When I get hot, I can't get rid of the heat. So when I'm out working in the heat, well, let's just say that I can only tolerate it up to a certain level before I start having problems. But basically, I'm stuck in this hot place without any reliable source of income. And as often happens, it's driven me back to, man, I got to find a way to make money online. And in this case, a lot of things have come full circle. Some things that have started last summer when my music background started coming back to me. I started playing guitar a lot more. Finally, everything came together with all this weird stuff going on to make me realize, man, I just got to do music. I just got to make it work. I know how to do the marketing that I need to do. I feel like all of my internet marketing training, even though it has never been particularly successful, I know how to do it. I just feel like I wasn't applying it in the right area. And when I finally apply it to what I'm meant to do, I think it'll work. So I'm starting to push things in that direction, and I'll show you a little bit about what's going on with that once we go back into the camper where it's cool. because after about a week of hanging out in my friend's carport with my stuff set out here, I'm cooking some potatoes right now. I finally figured out that she has a spare air conditioner, which I've been able to install in there. So I've been able to make it cool inside, and has actually enabled me to get started working on my music and the projects, the musical projects that I'm working on right now, which I'll show you in a moment. But first, I'm going to eat some potatoes, and then we'll go on camper. Oh, by the way, you might be interested in 2 ways that I've been managing the heat in my camper. Before we figured out that there was an air conditioner available, is that since I have access to a hose, I've been watering it down, especially on the roof. The water dries up pretty quick, so I had to really do something about the roof. And so that's really one of the issues right there, is the solar panel absorbs a lot of heat, and then it transmits it right through the roof. Like, it makes the roof really, really hot. So putting some foil under there helped a little bit. I don't have enough foil. This is why I'm not covering the whole thing. But this windshield thing, putting that on there, it actually helped. There are a lot of people who would say that, well, Reflectus doesn't do much, and I agree. Reflectus isn't that good, but it was good enough to help keep some of the heat off. And the difference I could feel is being underneath, inside the camper, I could feel the roof, and the inside of the roof was really hot. So that really helped. And then this makeshift thing, just made out of aluminum foil, it works surprisingly well. I can't tell which one works better than that. It's really easy to tell, though, by feeling under the roof like before and feeling which side of the roof is cooler. And they both work about even. I did try a space blanket, and it didn't do anything, or very little at the very least. It was still very hot under the roof. But underneath this, it worked pretty well. And underneath this, it's also working pretty well. So this is this is glued onto spray glued onto a garbage bag. But because it's actual aluminum, it's working all right. All right, back in the cool camper now. I've turned the air conditioning off, so it's not quite so loud, but that means we've only got about 20 minutes of cool air. So let's show you what's I got going on. So here's my little super micro studio, and there I got Reaper open, which I've been learning. I got about 5 tracks that I've been I recorded some scratch guitar for. I guess I could play a little bit of that in the background while I give you the tour. This process of trying to get this studio going last summer, but then I ran into problems because the interface I had just stopped working altogether. And I also discovered that my old Mac from 2011, it just wasn't good enough to handle what I wanted to do. It would keep on crashing when I used even something as simple as GarageBand. But then I recently figured out that I could run Reaper, which is takes up it uses a lot less memory and runs really fast on this, even this very old software, because it's ultimately a lot like Linux. But what that means is that, well, one of the great things about Reaper is that it's really customizable, but just like Linux, in order to get all the benefits from it, you have to learn how to do all that customization. So there's a kind of a steep learning curve in order to get used to it. But so far it's working really well, and it's also coming in handy for the other project that I'll be doing that I'll tell you about right now. Yeah, so I used to do voiceovers, nothing high end, just on Fiverr, $5-10 at a time, and it started going all right. This was a couple years ago while I was living in the camper, but it became a bit difficult with this lifestyle. I'd frequently get caught in cities, and there would be nowhere to go to find a quiet space to record. And because I was spending a lot of time like at Starbucks and stuff, and it would just be in town, and I would have to deliver a voiceover really quickly. I wasn't going to drive all the way back out to the wilderness to try to record something. So it wound up kind of difficult to do at the time. But now, since I've been putting together the little studio, I got a good situation. As difficult as it is, I'm able to camp here in the driveway with access to electricity, which is important. My computer's also having trouble just staying on sometimes, so that's just a constant worry. But having the electricity handy and a place where I can consistently be, and it's reasonably quiet here. You hear the birds outside sometimes, but I'm not even sure that you can hear them right now. It just depends on what time of day I record. So many difficulties, but this is one thing that I think can work. I'll get back to Fiverr and see how it works out doing these voiceovers, because I know I can do it, and it'll be a good thing to do it, like just basically spend my time in the studio. It'll be a lot less like hiking and camping and stuff, but that's pretty much what it's been like for the last couple months anyway. So I'm gonna lock myself in the camper with air conditioning on much of the time, and doing voiceovers in between, working on getting some music recorded, mixed and mastered and online, and that entire process of getting it all going and marketed and stuff. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of what I've been up to and what you can hopefully look forward to as I transition into this new direction. So thanks so much for your support, and hopefully you'll be seeing a lot more of my videos now that I have a sort of much more stable situation, even within this very temporary situation. Yeah, I got no idea what's going to happen, but with hope, everything's going to work out really well. Thanks so much for your support.